He was the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. He was the challenger that only wanted a shot at the title.
When you speak about Hasim Rahman, you know, you could say he got unlucky against David Tua. And I'm giving him another opportunity to prove himself.
I feel like this is the biggest opportunity of my life. I believe I'm going to be very prepared for this opportunity, and I will be the next heavyweight champion in the world.
They say rocks are hard to crumble, but this rock's definitely going to be broken. Well, I'm going to take out Hasim Rahman. You're getting knocked out. Getting knocked out.
But Hasim Rahman had other plans. Now Rahman has the belts. Lewis wants them back. The stage is set for the rematch. Rahman and Lewis too.
It was one of the biggest upsets in boxing history.
Brand new heavyweight champion, and he's from the United States.
I'll be back again.
Can Lewis take back his crown?
No way, I've seen him beat me twice.
Or is Rahman the new king?
Let's do it again! Let's do it again!
Rahman Lewis 2, November 17th from Mandalay Bay, live on pay-per-view. Contact your pay-per-view provider to order.
Nobody takes my crown.
I am champion of the world.
Nobody.
He was as tough as they came.
Terrific combination by Rahman.
When he was 14 years old, he took down 3 grown men.
Rock is a man who fears no man. It's the other guy who has to fear him.
Rahman dominating the fight.
Everybody told me I wasn't going to make it.
Hasim the Rock Rahman.
Hasim Rahman knew this was his one chance in life. He had something to fight for.
It was do or die for me.
What a story as Hasim Rahman becomes the heavyweight champion of the world.
Ain't nobody. I say what I want to say to you.
Hasim Rahman, the one-punch wonder.
He was kicking like a woman. This is it for you, Lennox. It's over.
His name's going to be Hasim Rahman.
I'm the champ, and nobody can take that away from me. I'm already a part of history.
High atop the Catskill Mountains in upstate New York is a sleepy little town called Kerhonkson. It's an unlikely place to prepare to defend a title, but that's precisely where, for the next 2 weeks, Hasim Rahman, the new heavyweight champion of the world, has set up camp.
Training camp goes back to the earliest days of the warriors and samurais, the gladiators. This is combat, this is battle, and this is the best place to prepare for battle.
He needs to be to himself where the media can't get to him too much, where the public can't get to him too much, fans can't get to him too much. But right now, he really needs to isolate on just training.
Okay, hey!
The first week is really just the beginning stage. It's the time in which you are supposed to get your body in condition, you get the kinks out, you work on your beginning techniques.
It's like anything, you know, you crawl before you walk. This ain't nothing new, me starting off sluggish, you know, but I eventually work it out.
A good stance, Hasim.
That's it. Good position.
I see some very dull edges where he needs to really sharpen up and get his quickness together. Even his stamina even need to be better. So my arms get this little bit of soreness out of it. I should be able to, you know, throw my punches, let my hands go, throw more combination. Be able to fight harder. Another day at the office. You want to switch jobs tomorrow? I'll hold the camera. You box a few rounds.
On the first day of camp, a pattern is established. A morning of serious sparring gives way to friendly, if competitive, fun.
We play spades and talk. That's a way that we can really let go of the tension, break the monotony, and just relax. Everybody's away from home. We just, you know, just try to just pass the day. We enjoy it.
Get back, bump! Bump on my side! Bump on my side! Bump good!
Lennox Lewis, who didn't take his opponent seriously enough, didn't train hard enough, and then when the fight got more difficult than he expected, he couldn't adjust.
He just thought that he was going to go in and basically do what he had been doing in his recent fights, which was just winning easily. What he didn't realize was that Hasim Rahman was everything the opposite of what Lewis was, and that was very, very focused, very, very ready for the fight, and very, very prepared mentally to take the challenge.
I do think Lewis took Rahman lightly the first time. He saw a fighter who had been knocked out a couple of times. He saw a fighter probably who he thought, why is this guy even getting a shot?
And there wasn't anything in the body of work leading up to this from Hasim Rahman that would give you any indication that he would come in with any kind of strategy to neutralize any of the skills that Lennox Lewis had.
There were rumors before the fight that Lewis hadn't trained hard, hadn't gotten himself acclimated to the altitude, and you could sort of sense that that was probably the case once they got into the fight. It looked like Rahman was getting stronger, it looked like Lewis was getting a little weaker, and it certainly looked like Rahman was figuring out a way to get through Lewis's defense.
Maybe there was a little mental lapse in the fight. I agree with that, but as far as physically prepared, I was definitely physically prepared, because I've always said to people, what does one punch have to do with if I'm in shape or not? I was in great shape.
Because of Lewis's devastating power, Rahman knew that if he wanted to have a chance against the heavyweight champion, he needed to neutralize Lewis's big weapon of choice, his right hand.
Hasim Rahman, in preparing for Lennox Lewis, prepared mainly for one thing, and that was to avoid Lennox Lewis's famed and reputed big right hand. And every time that Lennox would get in a position to throw it, Rahman had a tendency to bend underneath to avoid being hit with the right hand. And I thought he did a very good job of that.
To me, it was very important in the Lennox Lewis fight for me to win the first round, for me to get a measure of respect in the first round. And from that point, I just felt like I was getting to him mentally as well as physically from that point on.
It's a situation where I gave him an inch, he took a yard. He threw a great punch in South Africa, and he was able to come through it, get through with it. I put up my hand to block it, and the punch just slipped inside, and it was a great punch.
The punch that ended Lewis's reign was a point of contention. While some attributed to Rahman's preparation, others debated whether or not luck was involved.
I'm surprised that people say it was a lucky punch, because I don't see where Lennox was dominating the fight at any point.
I don't believe that there's such a thing as a lucky punch. If you land a punch that is timed well enough and is thrown hard enough with enough leverage to knock a heavyweight out, it's not lucky.
So there was no luck involved. It's a bad luck. But what the public needs to know, if they don't already, is that lucky or not, if you hit him in the chin, he goes down and he does not get up.
But you can't take anything away from the punch, whether it was a lucky punch or whether Rahman planned the punch. It ended the fight. The heavyweight championship of the world changed hands on one punch.
Lucky or not, one thing is certain. When Rahman and Lewis meet again for the much-anticipated rematch, neither one is leaving anything to chance. United States, with a final stop in London, England. Making light of the arduous legal negotiations for the rematch, a mock trial was presented in each city, with Don Ping presiding.
This is a courtroom of heavyweight boxing.
For excitement, local flavor was added to each event. Showgirls in Vegas, revolutionary soldiers in New York, and pomp and circumstance in London. But for all the window dressing and silly antics, the real fireworks came from the fighters themselves.
Yeah, he was trying to run away. Yeah, The Rock was trying to run away. There's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide.
He seems to think that he's going to knock me out. He keeps telling everybody he's going to knock me out. He's living on what he's done, which is, he had a brilliant career, Hall of Fame career, but it's just over now, Lennox.
I'm going to show him that he's just holding on to my belt. I'm going to show him that he doesn't even belong in the ring with me.
We decided to give him a belt. So we're going to present you the belt, so when your pants get too big, that's the only belt that he will be getting from Baltimore.
Making numerous television and radio appearances together, the fighters were spending a lot of time in dangerously close proximity.
Threw a great punch, a terrific punch.
A lucky punch.
Unbelievable punch, one that came out of the heavens. And it even surprised Rahman himself. He said it after the fight. What did I say? When heavyweights throw punches, things can happen just like that. And that's what happened in my fight. I dare you to do that again. In fact, if you're big like that, put some money where your mouth is, son. Put $1 million right now.
You do not hold anything, including the belt.
Come in with your own
including
stuff,
the belt.
For the moment.
And leave.
Remember that. For the moment.
You ain't taking nothing from me.
All right.
Not. You know, the only thing you taking is butt whipping.
As the animosity continued to escalate, it was only a matter of time before...
During your radio gigs here, did he question your sexuality?
Yeah, he said, why are you starting that gay stuff? I'm saying, I'm not gay. Why are you calling me gay? He said he's not calling me gay. So I don't even understand that.
What did you say, Hasim?
I said what he did was gay. I said he wanted to take it to the courts. And we fighting around the same time. I told him we was going to fight anyway. So I said that was gay to take it to the court. I mean, I don't know why he was so offended.
I'm 100% woman's man, so don't even play that. If you're worried about that, bring your sister, bring anyone.
Look, hold. I'm tell you right now, if you don't want me saying nothing about your mother, your father, or anybody else in your family, do not say nothing about my family.
Be careful what you say.
Do not say nothing about my family.
Be careful what you say to me.
Do not say nothing. Man, you ain't nobody. I say what I want to say to you.
Go ahead, man.
I say what I want to say to you. What you mean? I just said it. What you want me to say? What you want me to say?
Say anything
like what? Like what?
You want.
Like what?
Anything
what you want me to say?
Say anything you want.
What?
Fellas. Okay, we don't want that. Guys,
Come on, big man.
When you start talking about people's relatives, you just can't play like that. And when you put your hands on somebody, you can't play like that either. All that grabbing and touching, that's a no-no.
He said I could have beat him to a bloody pulp if I wanted to, but I thought about how much money it would cost me if I damaged my fist or his face.
Yesterday I did have him on the ground. He was kicking like a woman.
Okay.
There's no way he can intimidate me, no matter what he do. And the sooner he realized that, the sooner we can go ahead and give him his retirement party, because this is it for you, Lennox. It's over. You want to do it now? You want to do it now? You want to do it now?
I mean, it was hilarious.
Look at him. Look at him.
It's impressive, too, because in Lennox's entire career, I've never seen someone get the better of him psychologically.
I am the champ, Lennox. You are not the champ. You've been treated like the champ for so long, you don't know how to exist. It's like somebody been in prison for a long, long time, and they come home and they just can't function in society. Lennox can't function not being a champ.
The way Rahman was talking to Lennox is the way you fantasize that if you were heavyweight champion, you'd talk to an opponent. I mean, it was Ali caliber stuff.
That's right, I can do that. I'm the champ. IBF, IBO, WBC, thanks to you. Thanks to you. Thank you, Lennox. You bought my new house, my new car. I messed around, put Lennox on my license tag.
But I think, yeah, he got under his skin. I think that he's unnerved Lennox, that Lennox is emotional, which is not good for a fighter. You want to be calm.
I'm not going to go in the ring angry. I'm going to go in the ring intelligent and fight a smart fight and do what I need to do to knock him out.
As we get very close to the fight, I think you're going to find more intensity, more introspection. There will be less of the jovial Rock and more of the warrior.
In the meantime, we to remind you, next Saturday night, live on HBO pay-per-view, the heavyweight championship rematch. Hasim Rahman defending the title he took this past April from Lennox Lewis down in South Africa. They'll meet again next Saturday night at the Mandalay Bay Sports and Event Center in Las Vegas. Earlier this evening, I spoke to both fighters, and you're going to see that conversation in a moment. But first, a preview of the fight.
All the ingredients were there. The hungry challenger, the apathetic champion, a frenzied foreign stage, the recipe for an upset. A determined Hasim Rahman arrived in South Africa a month before the fight in order to acclimate himself to the rarefied Johannesburg air, while a seemingly unconcerned Lennox Lewis attended to his own priorities back in the USA.
I'm definitely prepared. I even took a couple days out to do a movie.
Unfortunately for Lewis, this production would have no happy ending.
Rahman chases Lewis across the ring. And knocks him down with a thunderbolt to the right hand. We got a brand new heavyweight champion.
Moment that will secure his place in the history of the heavyweight division.
And now we bring you back to ringside in San Francisco, where joining us from their respective perches 1 week before the big fight are the heavyweight champion of the world, Hasim Rahman, from his training camp in Big Bear, California, and the man who now challenges to try to become a titleist for the third separate time in his career, Lennox Lewis in Las Vegas. Lennox, I'll start with you. After you and The Rock had your dust up on national television on ESPN, a lot of respondents to ESPN's website, more than half in fact, said that they thought the scuffle was fake. Nothing is more interesting about a fight than when the two combatants genuinely dislike each other. What would you say to fans tonight to underline the assertion that what happened between you and Rock is for real?
Yeah, I think it was definitely real. You know, when you get two big egos in one room, you know, something has to come out of it. And you're right, we did have a little tussling match, and, you know, it's just a precursor of what's going to happen next week.
Hasim, you clearly got under Lennox's skin that evening. Do you genuinely dislike him for the things he said about you since you knocked him out?
Well, I definitely don't think he has the respect. You know, I plan on earning that on November 17th. But then again, you know, Lennox, you know, I don't plan to hear from him ever again in life. He says he's going to retire if he loses this fight. So he'll go back to Jamaica or Canada or England or wherever he claims he's from and just live his life.
Did you try to get under his skin, Rock, because for your purposes of winning the fight, it's better to fight an aggressive Lennox Lewis who's looking to knock you out than the guy who has stayed in his envelope and controlled some opponents from a distance?
Well, personally, I don't think he can win either fight. I just think what happened was Emmanuel Stewart wasn't there to tell him everything to say, so he just totally lost it.
Lewis, Lennox, who will it be for you in this fight? Will it be the aggressive, opportunistic Lennox Lewis who knocked out Franz Botha and Michael Grant when they made mistakes against you? Or will it be the cautious counterpuncher who kept people like Holyfield and Tua at bay?
Well, I think you get a combination of both. Basically, I'm just going to come out there with my arsenal filled with punches I can throw at any given moment and give it to Rock.
Your detractors say that the knockout against Rahman goes back to your knockout against McCall, shows that you have a China chin, and suggests that at your advanced age, you may be finished. Can you still fight the way you used to, Lennox?
Absolutely. You know, I would say on that same night, anybody could have knocked me out. You know, Rock threw a great punch, and I didn't see it, and you know, I would say anybody would have knocked me out if they would have hit me the same way.
Hasim, you keep talking about how you're going to knock Lennox out again, though some of us could see scenarios by which you might conceivably outbox him. Do you feel as though you have to knock him out to prove that what you did in Johannesburg was legit?
Well, no. I think that punch was enough, and I don't think, you know, everybody keep focusing on the punch. But I landed right hands all night long against Lennox Lewis. I think that if I win a decision, it'll be totally based on the way Lennox fights. If he wants to fight passive, then and I win a decision, I'm still a champ. He needs to take this fight from me. He the one needs to prove everything. I don't know why everybody keep turning this thing around like I have everything to prove. I'm the champ. He wants what I have. They are my belts, and I'm keeping them.
So does that mean you don't have the same hunger that you took to South Africa when you felt like you had so much to prove?
No, I definitely got more hunger because I feel like, you know, this fight, it's a make or break fight for both of us. But I'm saying everybody turning it around on me. You know, I really don't have anything to prove. You know, they was talking about Lennox just all time great right before the fight. He's getting better as he gets older. I believe I heard you say he's getting better in his old age. I mean, as he gets older, he's getting better. Every time out, he's getting better. And then when we get to South Africa and I crush him, now it's okay. Now he's getting old. Maybe his skills are deteriorating. Everything he went to court and said, you know, he just totally contradicted everything he said leading up into the fight.
You know what, Rock? I had said that he was getting better. And then after what happened in Johannesburg, I decided that maybe he got too full of himself, read his press clippings, and had too much money in the bank. Is that what happened to you, Lennox?
No, I was a bit lackadaisical in the fight. I didn't really take Rahman that well, but you know, this fight I'm taking very seriously. He's got a week to go, and at the end of the week, he's going to be giving those belts back to me.
Gentlemen, thank you both very much for your time. We'll look forward to seeing you both next week in Las Vegas. So it will be coming to you live next Saturday night on HBO pay-per-view. The rematch. Will it be repeat for Hasim Rahman or revenge for Lennox Lewis? Rahman versus Lewis 2 live next Saturday night, November 17. And what about you as a fan? Who do you think will win next Saturday night's heavyweight championship rematch? Log on to hbo.com/boxing and cast your vote. We'll give you the results at the conclusion of tonight's telecast. You can also choose which trainer and cornerman you want to listen to during tonight's main event, and check out the latest installment in our Where Are They Now series featuring former light heavyweight and heavyweight champion Michael Spinks.
Rahman and Lennox Lewis met on April 22nd of this year in Johannesburg, South Africa. Rahman was a 15-1 underdog going into that bout. What took place that night is now part of boxing history. The fortunes of a heavyweight can change in the blink of an eye, and nobody knows this better than Lennox Lewis and Hasim Rahman. For over 6 years, Lewis dominated the heavyweight division. Various wins over talented upstarts, touted contenders, and hardened veterans forged Lewis's stature as the heavyweight of his era.
The plan to attack Lennox Lewis just backfired. Big time.
While the lion roared, the rock crumbled. Hasim Rahman began his career compiling 29 wins with no losses. But was he poised to take the next step versus David Tua?
Tua slashing to the body with right shot. Rahman in trouble. And the referee's going to stop it.
The controversial loss to Tua, a career misstep, was compounded by a major tumble against Oleg Maskiev.
And he doesn't look like he's going to get up.
He's not going to get up anytime soon.
In light of the past, how could April 22nd have happened? The signs were there for all to see.
I'm definitely prepared. I even took a couple of days out to do a movie.
No, I'm preparing for war. I don't know what he's preparing for. Maybe he's not prepared for 12 hard rounds.
It is the era of Lennox Lewis rules. Nobody tests Lennox Lewis as the best, and I put them all to rest.
Rahman knocks him down with a thunderbolt to the right hand. Shades of Oliver McCall. We got a brand new heavyweight champion, and he's from the United States.
Lewis and Rahman have wrestled in the courts of law and public opinion.
You ain't nobody. I say what I want to say to you.
But there is only one fight that matters. Tonight, reclaiming a past legacy or building a new one. Let's take the pulse of those of you out there to see who you think will win the fight tonight. Here are the results of who you think will win the Rahman-Lewis 2 fight. Folks, 57% of you say Lennox Lewis, 43% Rahman. That's down from last week when this poll was taken. It was in the high 60s in favor of Lennox Lewis. And remember to vote round by round on who you think is winning. We'll give you the results throughout the fight. All right, folks, back downstairs for the main event and our anchor, Jim Lampley.
All right. Tail of the tape for the rematch between Hasim Rahman and Lennox Lewis. Lewis at 36 years of age. Is he off the diving board? The height advantage of 2.5 inches for Lewis. Reach advantage listed here, although there are some statistical compilations that indicate Rahman has an identical reach to that of Lewis. By our measurements, Lewis still 2 inches longer. Rahman weighed in 2 pounds under his Johannesburg weight at 236. Lewis 6.5 pounds under his Johannesburg weight at 246.5. We look back.
Lennox Lewis, in the role of challenger, will enter the ring first. George, we've talked about the significance in the past of a fighter trying to come back from a knockout loss against the same fighter who knocked him out. What must Lewis do in round 1 to reverse the psychology with which they left South Africa?
You got to make certain he doesn't get into any exchanges so that he does not taste and remember probably some injured confidence in there. One shot could bring it all back to him. I've been in that position before. You remember those knockouts too well. So his best thing is to stay out of exchanges, let him throw the shots from long ranges, don't get hit.
A rather pointed choice of entry music here as Lewis walks into James Brown's The Big Payback.
Well, Lennox Lewis has, at least in his public utterances, been in total denial of what happened in South Africa.
Johannesburg to fight Lennox Lewis. He was widely seen as an ordinary fighter. Larry, in recent weeks, he's been at great pains to portray himself as just an ordinary guy who happens to hold the heavyweight championship of the world. How much chance is there that at the end of this night we'll look back and say, well, he was just ordinary after all?
Well, he is just an ordinary guy in the sense, one of 12 children, brother who's a doctor, father who's a Muslim prison minister, an ordinary guy who sold drugs as a teenager, had 5 bullets removed from his stomach, and 500 plus stitches put into his head after a fatal car accident. An ordinary guy who went from thug to pug to heavyweight champion of the world. Just about as ordinary as you can be, Jim.
Like so many American heavyweights of recent vintage, he came relatively late to the sport after having shown his athletic talent in other pursuits like football and swimming. His father wanted him to swim in a swim club as a teenager, and he did, but he's approached a steep learning curve in boxing pretty doggone well.
Yes, London, England, he weighed in at a ready 246.5 pounds. His record stands at 38 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw, with 29 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the 1988 Olympic gold medalist, the former 2-time and undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Here is tonight's challenger, introducing Lennox Lewis. And his opponent across the ring on my right, fighting out of the red corner, the defending world champion, entering the ring wearing red, white, and blue trunks, fighting out of and representing his home of Baltimore, Maryland. He weighed in at 236 pounds with a record of 35 wins, 2 losses. He has 29 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight he is making the first defense of his title. Please welcome the WBC, the IBF, and the IBO heavyweight champion of the world, introducing the hard-hitting Hasim the Rock Rahman.
All right, gentlemen, we went over the rules in the dressing room. I expect a good, clean fight. I want good sportsmanlike contact. Guys, these trunks here, Lennox, are a little high. Punches here, above here, they're good. Same thing with you. Punches here, trunks a little high. Punches here is good. Give me a good, clean fight. Obey my commands at all times. Remember, guys, I'm fair, but I'm firm. God bless you. God bless America. Touch them up. Go on, baby. Go.
There are 2 common sense outcomes, Pop, here. One, a repeat knockout by Rahman. The other, a defensive decision by Lewis. This being boxing, we often get uncommon sense, something we never foresee.
Those are the two forms of conventional wisdom.
There's no sweat on Rahman. Rahman is pretty dry.
And that is not good, is it, George?
That's the way you want to be caught.
Now, do you suppose Lennox Lewis is alert and aware enough to note that Rahman is dry?
He should benefit himself just by him being in that position. When a guy's dry like that, don't let him get sweaty and loose.
Hard right hand by Lewis over the top, lands on Rahman's chin.
Oh, stop, let him go, let him go.
Throws that left jab, he has to constantly move. He can't stand there and see if the jab lands. He got to keep moving. Step and a half, jab, step, step.
Halfway through the round, Rahman has yet to throw a right hand.
In Rahman's corner, you may still be waiting for your man to get properly warmed up.
Somebody is bleeding, and I think it is Rahman because there's blood on the left shoulder of Lewis.
I think the right hand opened Rahman's left eye. And that left eye was bleeding in South Africa at the moment when Rahman knocked Lewis out. It created a sense of urgency for Rahman in South Africa, and he's bleeding above the left eye now.
You don't want him to let Lennox Lewis get his rhythm with his jab.
I'm told that the replay is going to show the right hand was on the chin, so maybe it's the jab that opened the left eye.
Good right hand, that's the thing.
But there's no question Rahman is bleeding from above the left eye. That is his lead eye. It's the eye that Lewis will be targeting with his jab. It's a disadvantage for Hasim Rahman from the get-go. Parker and Lewis, in those fights in which he throws more than 30 jabs per round, he's awfully hard to handle. Rahman threw 30 jabs in the first round and landed 16, so he's off to a good start as well.
He's allowing Lewis to use the middle of the ring. Is what he shouldn't do. Lewis' right hand is always there for you.
The exchange is still in the center of the ring for the moment.
There have been times when he's just been sort of painting his opponent and moving away at the same time, but he's throwing some hard left hands tonight.
There's the hook. Make him throw those hooks. Lewis is doing a good job of that.
He seems for the moment, George, to have nullified Rahman's right hand. How's he doing it?
Boy, he's hurt him from long range, as we said earlier. Still reel this fight in, but he's going to have to get Lennox Lewis on those ropes and make him, there you go, make him believe out of that left hook.
Unnatural move for right-hand fighter. He's doing it beautifully, so that right can't hit him with that big right hand. Different generalship for Lennox Lewis. Another thing,
they're telling him not to counterpunch.
Boom! Will Rahman get up, or have the tables been turned? Is it reversed?
7, 8, 9.
It's over. Lennox Lewis got revenge.
Has captured his revenge, and now it's Rahman complaining in the corner that he didn't get the full count. Lennox Lewis fought a virtually perfect fight.
Some of his supporters thought he could have done the Holyfield if he had decided to be more aggressive. Rahman totally out of position after the left, and the right hand was good night.
He did it by long range. That's most importantly. He didn't try to close in. Everything was out in the opening. That's the way you want to fight a puncher.
And he set it all up with the left hand by firing aggressively, keeping his left hand in Rahman's face, mixing in the left hook every once in a while with the jab. He changed it up here. Instead of jab and right hand, it was hook and right hand.
And you know what? The old saying, never follow.
Let's go to Jimmy Lennon Jr. for the official particulars.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the time of 1 minute, 29 seconds in round number 4. Our referee in charge, Joe Cortez, reaches the count of 10. The winner by way of knockout. He is now the 3-time heavyweight champion of the world, Lennox Lewis.
Final count, Jim. Congratulations, Lennox. You came into the fight. Your opponent was bone dry. Did you notice anything right from the start?
Well, I seen a little twinkle in his eye, you know. Plus I've been dreaming all week to change his name. Change his name from Has-Been Rahman. His name's Has-Been Rahman now.
How did you turn your anger at him for all of the taunts he's been making at you into a positive? Into a positive for you?
I didn't even hear the question.
I'm sorry, Lennox. How did you turn? How did you turn all the anger that you had welling up in you because of the taunting, because of your own lackluster performance in Africa, into this positive?
I just stayed focused. When we were in South Africa, I said that the belts were on loan. So he's had his 15 minutes of glory. Now they come back home to me.
Do you acknowledge now that you didn't give your absolute best effort? You didn't take him seriously in Africa?
Well, you know what? I didn't take him serious enough. I was in good shape in Africa, but one punch, he got through with one punch when I was a little not focusing that fight, and he got through with a great punch. We're in the heavyweight business. You can end things in one punch.
Hy did you hide out in your dressing room tonight? You seemed like you were just in your own zone, and you just were focused on what was going to happen?
Yeah, I was very focused. I didn't want to get into the hoopla. I was just showing the world that I was focused. They couldn't see too much of me. Even Rahman wanted to come in and see what I was doing. He was nervous, so he was outside my dressing room. I was laughing. Madiba! Yeah, big up South Africa.
The first few rounds,
win it.
You describe what you were doing in the first few rounds. Your jab seemed more authoritative than we've ever seen it. You stayed away from his right hand. Was that the plan?
Yeah, just to give him some movement. He couldn't take the movement. And I just showed him a different style. I told you, I can switch any style I want to, and this time I just showed him a different style of moving.
All right, let's go now to the fourth. Let's go to the fourth round and take a look at the knockout. You tell us what you saw. Emmanuel told you in the corner you can be more aggressive. What did you see?
Well, I noticed every time I try and reach around him with a hook, he sticks his arms out, and more time he's watching out for the straight right hand. So I kind of turned it around on him and threw a roundhouse right hand.
Emmanuel Stewart also said to you, look, this man doesn't counterpunch. You can attack him.
Yeah, I took some of the pressure to him. Gave him a lot of things to think about. Kitchener-Waterloo, big up.
What does that mean?
Huh?
What did you say?
I'm just picking them up, picking up all these places. Miami, big up.
All right. It was speculated before this fight, and reasonably, that you had been knocked out by this man, and that you would be conscious of that in this fight. How did you express that?
Well, I definitely wasn't gun shy. Plus I wanted to knock him out in the fourth round a little quicker than he knocked me out. So, in a sense, I got my up on him.
Do you feel that any of his pre-fight antics from the fight at the ESPN publicity tour to all of the stuff that was going on helped you in any way?
Yeah, it did. Those things really helped me. I showed a lot of disrespect there, and I just was keeping all these things inside me. I said, okay, you're going to pay fight time, and this is where he paid for it.
Thank you very much. Hasim, you said that you thought he would try to fight you in some different way tonight. What was that way from your perspective?
Well, I thought he was attacking more early than last time, and provided me plenty of opportunities to counter him with my own right hand. But I thought he kept his distance good today. But basically, the whole situation is, it ain't no dominant champions out here today. Lennox Lewis, Mike Tyson, Hasim Rahman, Vander Holyfield, John Ruiz, any of us could get beaten on any given day. As we keep showing you, it's just a round robin, and it ain't no dominant champions out here. I got to give him respect. He prepared well. He was in shape. He threw a nice, hard round.